Welcome horror fans to another video. It's a Wednesday video and we're back to our normal horror stories now. I sure hope you enjoyed the 100 subscriber special on Saturday. You're in for a real treat this time. We have two very creepy stories for you today. If you sit back, relax and enjoy the stories. I suffer from dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder. Despite the name implying it is a disorder and that there's something wrong with me, I've always found comfort in it. My father beat me when I was young, threw me across the room, slapped me harder than necessary, and left major bruises in spots that clothing would cover. This was when Marty emerged. Marty would endure all my physical pain when my father went through one of his episodes. Marty would be there to take the pain. He never cried or gave my father any satisfaction in the pain he was delivering. Eventually my mother got the courage to leave my father, and we moved far away. Marty stayed with me though. Whenever pain was involved, he would take over, even in minor cases. There isn't much to Marty other than his ability to absorb pain, but I've always appreciated him nonetheless. After running away from my father, it was just my mother and I, and Marty. We didn't have a lot of money, but my mum still did her best to give me the best life possible. She found a job in a city waiting tables. She barely made enough to scrape by. I was enrolled in school and immediately faced a new problem. My clothing was cheap because it was the best my mum could afford. Due to this, I was ruthlessly made fun of by my classmates. Marty was used to taking physical pain, not emotional. Soon enough, Sheldon was born. Sheldon took the insults with stride and always had a witty comeback. He had confidence that I would never imagine having myself. Sheldon helped me in all the ways that Marty could not. Thanks to Sheldon, I even became somewhat popular among my peers, even when he took it too far. Marty was there to step in if anyone wanted to try something. I was still in control most of the time, but I don't think I could have made it through life without my disorder. I recently graduated college, with the money mostly coming from scholarships. Sheldon had helped me set up connections and I had a pretty decent job at the time. The only downside was that my boss was a complete arsehole. Luckily I had Sheldon to take care of that for me though. Well, I had Sheldon for that, but then he was gone. I discovered this one day when my boss called me into his office. He began his usual tirade about numbers and not being up to par, yelling as loud as his voice would allow him. I waited for Sheldon to take over, but he didn't. I sat through the entire lecture. I began to sink into my chair. I must have begun to look visibly distressed, because even my high-tempered boss eased up. I was shaken. I hadn't had to deal with this in years. Sheldon had always done it for me, or at least been there to help me through it. Even my arsehole boss apologised to me that day, sending me home early to get some rest. I'll explain how my personalities usually work. As I previously stated, I am usually in control. When in control, I could still hear Marty and Sheldon in my head. Marty isn't much of a talker, but Sheldon on the other hand loves a good conversation. When one of them takes control, I can still see everything that happens, but I can't feel anything. No emotion, no pain. It's almost like a dream. Neither of them ever take control for too long, just as they are needed. I began to scream in my head for Sheldon. There was no response from anyone. I had thought it was odd that he had been quiet all day, but I assumed he was just resting. He does that from time to time, but he never abandons me when I need him. After hearing no response, I began to fear the worst. Was Marty gone too? I slammed my hand as hard as I could against the wall, and when I felt no pain, I breathed a sigh of relief. "Where is Sheldon?" I asked Marty in my head. "You really shouldn't do things like that," Marty replied. "Well, next time speak up when I'm screaming in my head. Now where the fuck is Sheldon?" "I don't know. I haven't heard from him all day, same as you." Fuck, was all I could think. He couldn't just vanish like that, could he? I obviously still wasn't over my emotional problems. I needed him. Had I relied too much on Sheldon? Probably. But that didn't explain his disappearance. Did there need to be a logical reason for him to leave me though? Even if he was a split piece of me, he was still part of me. But I didn't know how long I could survive without him. When I got home, I immediately opened my laptop and began to search the case of dissociative personality disorder. I wanted to find something about cases where personality suddenly just disappeared. After hours of searching, I gave up. There was nothing that helped me. That was until I saw an ad. It was one of the obvious scam ads that pop up on the side of a screen when you are scrolling through an article. This one stood out to me though. All it said was, "Missing something? We can find it." I was desperate, so I clicked the ad, possibly risking infecting my computer with something. The ad led me onto a site that only contained a text box in the centre, with a question above it: "What are you missing?" Even though the whole situation was crazy, I continued to type out my problem in the text box. I explained my problem and how what I was missing wasn't an object, but rather a part of me. Once I finished typing it all out, I hit enter, and my message disappeared. "We'll find what you are missing. Please prepare a payment method." This text appeared now on my screen, but there was no place to enter credit card information or any other payment methods. What kind of scam was this? I ran several virus checks on my computer and it came up clean. I know there are certain viruses that could bypass that, but if that was the case, there was nothing I could do. 2 days passed. I didn't leave my house. I called into work informing them I was sick. Well, I couldn't call. I texted one of my co-workers asking him to inform my boss of my absence. I didn't want to risk a backlash. Losing Sheldon had crippled my mental state. On the second day, however, I heard a knock at the door. I was almost afraid to answer it. What if it was my boss, coming to scold me for missing work? I couldn't just hide in my house forever though, so I cautiously answered the door. Standing on the other side was not my boss. Instead it was a strange looking man. He was short. There was nothing particularly abnormal about his face, but something about him just seemed off. He was wearing a fine suit, perfectly tailored to him. "Hello," I said, questionably. "Hello, my name is Adam. I'm here today because I was informed you was missing something. Lucky for you, we've found it." The man said in a voice that sounded like it was coming from a radio. You found what I was missing?" "Yes, you are missing one of your personalities, correct? You called him Sheldon?" How?" I asked, dumbfounded. How was any of this possible? I hadn't put an address into the site. Had this man hacked my computer? Had he really found Sheldon? "Well, I know this seems rather strange, but I'll need you to come with me," Adam said. I knew it would be a bad idea going with a stranger, but I was truly desperate. If this man had any chance of bringing Sheldon back, I had to take it. This website was the only person or thing I had ever told about Sheldon, so this man was obviously associated with it. "Okay," I said, as I followed the man to his car. The man ushered me into his black four-door car. He sat next to me in the back, seeing how he had his own driver. The ride to our destination was entirely silent. Eventually the man did speak up though. "I understand you are probably a bit nervous. but you have nothing to worry about. We have what you are missing, and you will have it back soon enough, Adam said. I just don't understand how any of this is happening, I said, replying honestly. Adam smiled back, responding, You don't need to worry about that. The world works in mysterious ways. After he said this, we seemed to be pulling into a building. I had found out what was going on soon enough. Adam let me out of the car and into a room. It was much like what I would imagine a therapist office would look like. Despite my disorder, I had never actually been to one. Was Adam a therapist of some sort? We both took seats in the room. Would you like something to eat or drink before we begin? Perhaps some fruit, Adam said, as he pushed a bowl of apples in front of me. I'm fine, thanks. Can we just get whatever this is over with, I said. I almost immediately regretted my words though. What if what I said upset him? Should I just eat an apple and apologise? That's fine. We can begin. I'm sure you've heard of hypnotism before, correct? Adam said. Of course. Are you going to hypnotise me, I asked. Well, not exactly. That's simply the best comparison I could think of to what I'm going to do. You see, your personality didn't just disappear. It was stolen. Stolen? How is that even possible? How could someone steal part of me without me knowing? I understand this is a bit confusing. I don't know if I could explain it in terms that you would understand. I just know that we have found Sheldon and I can give him back to you. Okay then, let's do this. At this, the man pulled out a small box. The box had several engravings on it. I wasn't exactly sure what they were. They were quite intricate though. Adam opened the box. From where I was sitting, I couldn't see what was in the box. Adam stood up and approached me with the box. He kept it high enough that I still wasn't able to see inside. Eventually, he stood right in front of me. Please close your eyes and reach inside the box, Adam said. It was too late to ask questions, so I did as he said. I clenched my eyes shut and reached inside the box, not knowing what I was looking for. As I placed my hand in the box, I couldn't feel a bottom. I continued to lower my arm into a box, but this shouldn't have been possible. Was there a false bottom? My arm was still inside the box as far as I could reach, and I still couldn't feel a bottom. I hadn't felt anything. What was going on? Stop just aimlessly feeling around. Look for what you desire, Adam's voice said. What I desire? Right, Sheldon. I began to think of Sheldon as I moved my hand around in the void. The part of me that had protected my frail emotional state. The part of me that had become more important to me than anything. Then I felt something. I grabbed onto it. It was heavier than expected. It took everything I had to pull it out of the box, but when I felt my hand leave the box, the weight disappeared, and a familiar voice popped into my head. What have you done, you idiot? Said the voice of Sheldon. What do you mean, what have I done? I got you back, I responded. Yes, but at what cost? Before I could question what I meant, Adam spoke up again. I believe you have found what you are missing. You can now open your eyes, he said. Oh yeah, sorry. Thank you so much, I said. Don't thank me yet. We have yet to discuss your payment. Oh, right. How much does something like this cost? Well, we have had the liberty of checking your bank account, and it wasn't nearly enough. So we've taken something else instead. Taken something else? What do you mean? Before I could finish my sentence, Adam punched me with full force. I fell to the floor in excruciating pain. Pain? Did that mean... Yeah. He's gone, Sheldon said from inside my head. Why? I said out loud. It was all I could think to say. Well, as much as we learned about Sheldon, he's not quite useful to us. Marty, on the other hand, is. He doesn't just absorb your pain for you. He doesn't feel pain at all. Can you imagine the possibilities if we could manifest this? Sick people wouldn't have to feel pain. Athletes would no longer be burdened with the pain of injuries. Most importantly, a soldier who feels no pain could truly perform his duties until the end, Adam said. Please, I whimpered. No need to be selfish. We gave you what you wanted. You have gone most of your life with no pain. It's time to share. After Adam said this, I saw his foot began to rapidly approach my head. Soon the world was dark. I woke up with a massive headache. I was no longer in my therapy room. No, I was in my bed. I checked my phone. 4 hours had passed since I had remembered leaving my home with Adam. On my laptop I found a note. It simply said, "If you search for what is now missing, the consequences will be deadly." Before I could even contemplate what to do next, Sheldon spoke up. We have to get Marty back, or something terrible is going to happen. Well, that was truly creepy. Let's get on to that next story. This happened last year, so this story may not be 100% correct. Also, here is some backup information. I am male, but I look and sound like a girl. Me and my friends were leaving school to go home, and this guy asked each of us if we have a pen. I always have some in my bag, so I give it to him. He takes a pen and writes an anime show name on the list outside the main office because the school is showing anime at lunch for a while. So anyways, I start talking to the guy because I want to be a more social person. We talk about anime and what type we like to watch. My friends tell me it's 6 o'clock, so I ask the guy for my pen back, and me and my friends leave. When we leave the school, the guy leaves too. He seems pretty cool, so I ask if he wants to walk with me and my friends while we go to our bus stop. He mainly walked with me because my 2 other friends were talking to each other. So while me and the guy are talking, he says this. "So are you a boy or a girl?" I'm a bit shocked because the guy asked this question out of nowhere. I'm a boy. Are you sure? Like, you don't have a Uno? I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is happening? Yes, I'm sure I don't have a vagina. He keeps asking me this question every time I say no. I'm getting tired of this rude guy, so I tried to walk off with my friends. Before I could say anything to my friends, the guy says this. "Do you know what would be really funny? If I dressed you up in a maid outfit and you wore polka dot panties and I take pictures of you." What the fuck? I just met this guy and I'm 15 and he is probably 17. What did he just say? You know you could be a best trap of 2018. I bet my friends overheard our conversation, so they took my arms and walked away with me. After this I never saw the guy again at school. I think he graduated that year. Creeper, let's not meet.